As that is happening, this guy starts running towards me, Sarbajeet. And before it was Sarbajeet, it was mummy, Sarbajeet, help. So when I keep on saying that, when a 35 years old man starts shouting, mummy, there is something wrong. Fear of the paranormal is, for me, it's zero.
Okay.
If someone says, Sarbajeet, don't go inside that building, there could be 10 demons, I'm like, let's do this right now.
Let's go.
Yeah. I say this, I become a kid, very honest. Yeah, they're demons, let's go and do that. And then he'll start investigating, and he'll be like, these are demons? They're not demons, they can't do shit.
They're my brothers. No, I'm kidding. I'm not f***ing around, guys. I'm messing around. This is the part where I actually get possessed. Sarbajeet Mohanty has been on the show before. His partner in his paranormal investigation adventures, Pooja Vijay, has also been on the show. But there's not been a single episode that's as dark as this one. This is not about the basics of paranormal investigation. This is not about the science of ghosts. Those topics have been covered earlier. This episode is straight up dark. It's some of the most intense conversation that I've ever had on the Ranveer show, and you'll understand why by the time you reach the end of this episode. It's an extremely dark one. So brace yourself and keep following TRS. This is Sarbajeet Mohanty, who returns on the Ranveer show once again. सरबा भाई आ गए भूतिया कहानी के साथ. How are you, bro?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I am excited about this conversation.
Same here, always.
Yeah. Where do we even begin? We left the second conversation we did in a very intense, dark place.
Yes.
One of my co-founders, Ayush Anand, on Level, he actually called me after the first episode. He's like, "Wo kaun the yaar?" And that was such a dark episode, the first one.
It was quite intense.
Why is God putting your word out?
I think it's because it's the time that people should know this. And I'm so glad he chose someone like you to be the medium of what I'm trying to say, or what my team is trying to doing ultimately. We go to such dark places not to just have fun or to get that kick or to have that thrill, oh, it's be so daring, Sarbaj is doing daring thing, Pooja is doing daring thing. No, there is nothing apart from that one mission we have been doing, both of us along with our team members, we have been doing for the past 10 years, is to spread this knowledge, and in the process help people to know what the real deal is. Because like I said in the last podcast too, that until we know what darkness is, we'll never go towards the light. That's very important. We have to know that darkness does exist. It's very much real. It's very much creepy and can affect you in some multiple ways, emotionally or otherwise. But if we know the right way to deal them, that is by knowing about them, by having knowledge about them, by meditating against them, we can be protected, we can keep our family protected, and we can be safe. So that's had been the whole idea, and I think that's why I'm here again.
Yeah. Portals. That's where we begin this one. What are portals? The one thing I've figured from conversations with you and with Pooja is that there are the realms beyond the physical. They're present around us. And then there are some kind of doorways to those realms, or at least windows to those realms where you can hear things, you can see things, you can feel things. Do you think things like crystals can actually be some sort of portals?
If they can do, I'm sure it's only positive. Considering we have to see the origin of the crystals. The crystals are coming from the core of the earth. Earth has been something that we all have been worshipping in some way or the other, not just religious point of view, but we keep thanking her or him, or we keep giving something in return because it is letting us live and giving oxygen and everything, food and all. All comes from the earth.
I think it's a her.
It's a her, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bhumima.
yeah, and if something so divine who is kind of protecting us, and it's like her, she's a mother in that, for that matter, a mother will never give you something that contains negative energy. That's a very non-religious point of view, nothing religious in there. But I believe that there are certain things, even for that matter, we were talking about plants right now in the studio. If a plant is used, let's say there's a tree and we break one of its branches and we are trying to hit someone, a plant is being used for a negative purpose. Same way for the crystal. If the person who is using it is using for negative impact, negative reasons, negative um, results, of course the negativity will be channeled through the crystal and it might harm the person against whom that person is doing whatever, any kind of projection. But origin of anything in this world, every negative person, he was never born negative. The negativity got into him by something or the other. Same for the crystals as well.
Hmm.
When they are bought in, they're never negative, they're in a very neutral, in fact in a very positive stage. It is us who kinds of puts in all those things to it, and either we can carry it to make it very divine, or we can throw them down the spectrum and make it very negative. So crystals, I don't think they can be portals to hell or negativity unless someone is intentionally doing it.
You want to say anything about crystals?
I think crystals. I think it's one of the crystals should be your best friend. They are something like that, and of course, not many people have the knowledge. But through internet now, many people can get that knowledge. And the crystals that are supposed to come to you, they will speak to you. So
Yeah.
if you have an inclination to them, maybe start researching on them over the internet, or go to a crystal shop, and then keep an eye, or basically keep your senses open. Some crystal will call you that in a way that please check me out, and
Hmm.
I might be of help of something that you are going through right now.
Sounds like my love life, dude. I'm kidding.
you
Kidding.
need you need rose quartz for that matter.
I have lots of rose quartz. No, but
Yeah,
uh,
crystals do speak.
imagine a rock that's faced millions and maybe billions of years of pressure, heat, sunlight, rain, all sorts of formats of weather, and then changes its own chemical composition to look a certain way and supposedly to have certain effects on the human life.
Yeah.
That's the power of crystal. Now imagine that that same rock that's been facing all those things was always meant to be yours.
Yeah.
Or at least it was meant to come to you and then be
Yeah.
passed on to someone else, maybe your kids.
And it's like kind of destined that thousands of years ago it started forming so that you could get hold of it.
Hmm.
So it was kind of, your name is kind of inscribed on that crystal. You
There,
should be lucky. Yeah.
yeah, there have been some friends of mine who are tarot readers, who actually stopped collecting certain crystals because they said that it brought heavy duty effects on their life, which means that
Mm.
overall it was still positive. But in order to give you a positive experience, it first cleaned up your karmas by sometimes putting you in a road accident.
Hmm.
You think things like that happen with some intense crystals?
Again, I don't think that can happen. We can always pinpoint our things to some things. I'm not saying your friends are wrong for that matter. They could be all correct. For personally, for me, I have never encountered something because of crystals. So for that matter, we have been into crystals for the last 5 years now, and we intensively deal with them because we recommend people for nightmares, and if they want to maintain positivity in their houses, so we keep on recommending, and there's a reason. uh, and that's why we also have a lot of crystals in our home of different amethysts and pyrites and obsidian and all kinds of things. As of now, I can always blame my karma on that crystal, but we have to imagine, can a crystal, of course it has a lot of energy and a lot of emf and everything, considering it all comes from the earth, can
Hmm.
it really affect a human being to that extent?
Yeah. On the last two episodes, we spoke about how spirits, ghosts,
Yeah.
demons are drawn to places and people that contain
I
high
am EMF
electromagnetic
field
force
field
field.
EMF. Yeah.
Uh, I'm 110% sure that raw crystals, at least, forget raw crystals, but any kind of crystals, they do have an effect on the electromagnetic field that they're
Yeah.
placed in.
Yeah.
Therefore, do they attract some kind of spirits?
So yeah, in that matter, let's say, again there are two things like I shared. Let's say the crystals, for example, a crystal shop, they have a lot of crystals as compared to what we have right now. They deal with a lot of crystals than we can ever deal with. But we will never see their shop get haunted, because for them those crystals are good. They are radiating positivity, they are radiating divinity. So the crystals are programmed in a way that they'll keep every negative entity away from the shop. There could be the good ones coming in, there could be the divines one coming in, and which are kind of necessary, because they guide us. I think we talked about it last time. They guide us and they help us, they protect us, which is necessary. But let's say someone is using it for all the wrong things, of course it is going to attract that same kind of entities of the kind of frequency that person is radiating.
For fun, I once bought a book about Wicca,
Wicca, yeah.
witchcraft.
Yeah.
Um, it begins by saying that people have a very negative outlook on witchcraft, and it's actually something
Yes.
it can be used positively. And then when I really started seeing the rituals written within those books, they were very similar to some tantric rituals that we have even in India, in Hinduism and Buddhism. You have tantric rituals. My reading is that the West, Europe, calls these things Wicca, witchcraft, but it's actually another format of Tantra in the same way that Africa has its own formats of voodoo.
Yes.
Now, this should actually be used for your own spiritual progression in the same way that when you meditate, you get spiritual progression. When you perform certain rituals, certain puja, certain havan, certain tantric rituals, you get some kind of spiritual progression. Spiritual progression itself has its own benefits. You become calmer, you become more radiant, you clean up your life. They say you clean up your karmas. But in the long term, because of the effects of religion, witchcraft, Wicca, all these things were extremely demonized because it was competition for other religions.
Yeah.
And in the Middle Ages, religions were competing with each other to
Yeah.
capture more audiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only now in 2023, with a lot of traditional religious formats being rejected, you're seeing a rise of witchcraft, Wicca again.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean you're seeing a rise of evil. You're just seeing a rise of this way of life, which can totally become evil
Yeah.
if used by the wrong people.
Yes.
It's just you're unlocking a lot of hot oil.
Yeah.
Now, whether you pour it on other people or you use
Yeah.
it to cook food, that's in your hands.
Yeah. True, and same for witchcraft for that matter. Even we get a lot of these cases where people say, "Oh, we think there is some witchcraft done on us," and all kinds of things. Thanks to not thanks, but unfortunately, what happened in Salem, Salem Witch Trial, where a lot of females were killed because they were considered to be witch or
Through
witches.
context you should
Yeah,
give.
so the Salem Witch Trial is said to be one of the gruesome phase in the US history and the Europe history and other places. It all happened simultaneously. Started from Salem, but went on to become a global phenomena where females were burned because they were considered to be witch, and they were burned alive, not like they were killed or something. Like they would be tied to a pole, and there would be people chanting all kind of things, religious things, and they were killed. And why? Because they thought that they are witch and they are doing witchcraft, which means they're kind of blessed by the devil, or that they have sold their soul to the devil, and they have made some kind of deal to the devil, and why they are able to perform certain miracles. Now the miracles is not something I call puja a witch all the time. Everyone in our team, we all call puja a witch, because a witch is someone who can heal someone, who can use the five elements for a good purpose, who can help a person meditate, or be a practitioner, or can counsel someone. All those people are either wizards or witch.
Yeah, this is the Western word. I'm 110% sure the Eastern word would sound nicer.
Yeah,
Not Chudel. Chudel is
exactly.
demonic.
Yes.
There must be something used to describe witches which has a positive connotation.
And because of that thing, of that influence that happened back in many years ago in those areas, India too kind of adapted to that thing. And the word which you use right now, chudail, is what we use to describe them. But if we go into the folklorish part of these stories in India, chudail is always someone who is bad, like you rightly said. But if we actually see people, uh, anyone who can heal, who can help out a person, is a witch or a wizard in the same way. But it's because of that thing that we have pushed down the generations. Right now, if I say someone, let's say, I'll just take the word witch, and the first thing you'll get in your mind is that long nose, green colorish thing.
Shabana Azmi in Makdi. But anyway.
And sitting on a broom and flying around. That's the idea we get of a witch. And same goes for tantric. No, we have so much seen in the movies tantric with the long beard and everything, wearing that reddish saffronish thing, and those kapde, that clothes that they wear. That when a tantric comes to your podcast, people take 2 minutes to think, is he really a tantric? Because it doesn't look like one.
Because the word tantric sounds negative.
Yes.
Because of our cultural conditioning.
Yes.
And then you understand that if you are a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Jain or a Sikh doing any form of puja, where you're
Yes.
praying to an idol, praying to a place, using fire in your ritual,
Yeah,
you're
is
already doing
tantric.
Tantra.
Yeah.
So you are a Tantric also.
Yes.
But the Britishers came and they said probably Tantric should be villains. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Britishers, maybe the film industry
Yeah.
it's painted Tantra in this negative light. But I strongly believe the word Tantra means techniques.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Tan is body, and I believe Tra is it's either evolution or technique. I can't remember the exact definition, but when you ask an actual practicing tantric, and I've asked Rajashi Nandi
Yes.
on the show as well, he said that it's techniques which utilize objects called yantras and spells called mantras. See, I'm
Yeah.
using the word spell because there's no other English
Yeah.
word to describe
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
mantra is.
Yeah.
That's the limitations of
Yes.
Western thinking.
Yeah.
I also strongly believe every single religion in the world starts off extremely positively and then gets corrupted because of the power struggle that
Yes.
invariably happens in that religion. The moment they feel that people are being drawn away from the religion, the power center points of those religions start painting everything else as bad. So a lot of Abrahamic faiths will really look down upon Indian faiths, thinking that we're pagan, we're bad.
Yeah.
But actually, if you study world history, which is much older than Abrahamic faiths,
Yeah.
when you're talking about African religions and Iranian Zoroastrian religions, these go back lakhs of years.
Yes.
Tantra has been being practiced for lakhs of years, but right now, the phase of history that we are born in, it is the age of Abrahamic religions with what I look at as slightly restrictive thought processes. They have some extremely good positives. There are very good positives in
Yeah.
every religion, but there's also a lot of stiffness. Now, I don't know if that stiffness comes from the origins of the religion or the centuries that have gone by where people have painted their own layers upon it, saying that this is bad, that is bad, dare not do this, those people are wrong, only we are right, they are wrong, how dare they do this, you all don't even know what you're doing, I hope you discover my thing. What is happening?
Yeah, true.
Unfortunately, it's happening in Indian religions also now, where we're starting to think that we are above everyone else. I don't think that that's how you should look at life. Look at the human story as the human story and know that Tantra can be used for spiritual progress.
Yeah, I think it's a very common thing also. We get questioned a lot of times when we are investigating, because let's say we are investigating a church and people will start asking, oh, but they're Christians, right? How are they talking to you, or how are they believing in what you are saying or your beliefs? And then we say, but yeah, they were Christian for sure, but right now they do not have a body. They're just energy forms, and they are not. I don't know if I can curse here. I can't, or I can, or you can beep it out. Let me just skip it.
No, you should curse, dude. I encourage it.
No, I just wanted to say, spirits are not being dick like other people. That's what I'm trying to say. They kind of see above. Of course, when that's why process of exorcism is also questioned a lot of times, especially the exorcism we see in movies. Recently, the Pops, some exorcist movie came in, and it was a Christian method of exorcising. But we have got exorcist in my team, and I'm an exorcist myself, and I do not use any of the methods that we see in movies. Of course, I've been taught that way. I've been taught by the church on how to perform an exorcism, and I know the ways and how you should do it. But if I go on to follow that process, I might lose that person into a full complete possession. I do not have the time to think, oh, I have to take an permission from the bishop, from the head church, and then go on to get a written order, and then I prepare the person has to be ordained and everything. I don't have that time. The first thing I can do, if I am concluding after all the psychological evolution, and I am concluding that okay, maybe there is something paranormal to it, I don't have the time to perform all those things. I just go right into my energy healings or energy detachment process or whatever we do, and it's nothing similar to what we see. So what you rightly said, it's like there's no one like above anyone else. I think somewhere or the other they all teach the similar things. It's just people who evaluate or go into finding their own personal meanings to it is where the conflicts happen. But thanks to the spirit world, they are quite chilled in that process.
Yeah. Slightly controversial opinion, but Russell Peters, who's a stand-up comic, once said that everyone's having so much sex with everyone that eventually all human beings are just going to be beige in color. Like our skin colors are all going to merge into somewhat like what your and my skin colors. We are already beige because our ancestors got jiggy. But I also think it applies to religion a little bit. I think the human story, because we're so connected because of the internet and cross promotion of ideas and information, eventually, maybe 300, 400 years into the future, we're going to realize that all of us are one, and
Yeah.
we're just going to take the best bits of every single
Yeah.
religion and call it something new.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
which to a large degree has happened in India. Because when you truly break down Hinduism,
Hmm.
it's different in Tamil Nadu, it's different in the
Yeah.
Northeast, it's different in
Other
Punjab,
places. Yeah.
Gujarat, everywhere. And we just collectively call ourselves Desi.
Hmm. Yeah.
But actually, when you truly look into it, all of us follow different rituals, etc. We
Yeah.
just learn to live together. And
Yes.
we have somewhat similar ideals.
Yeah.
I think that will happen in the world as well
Hmm.
as the human story progresses.
Sure.
Coming back to witchcraft and rituals, why do you think crystals are used in black magic?
So now we have to see the source, like you said, for thousands and millions of years, for that matter, few crystals are going under the pressure, all kinds of weathering and all to form or to become something. Now, because of that very experience, they're also a kind of how do I use the word? It's like they are kind of holding a lot of energy for that thing. The more the oldest a crystal is, the more power it holds. That's how it is, because staying under that pressure and going through the radiations of the earth and everything, it's gathering its own energy. It's like a bomb. Either we can use it for more research, or we can drop it somewhere and kill some people. So for few people, because of that energy it's holding, they can use it for their own enlightenment, for their own meditation, for their own growth, because they are kind of channeling the energy it has and the energy they have, and they're kind of bridging the gap between the two. And that's how crystals helps in growing spirituality wise. But let's say a person doesn't want to grow spiritually and wants to harm someone. It's like I'm using that same energy that the crystals have, and I'm projecting in a very negative way. So that's how they can also harm. And that's why a lot of crystals are also used in dark magic. But a lot of times, a lot of crystals have been found that no matter how much negativity you put on them or intend on them, they always reflect back to that person. So there's certain crystals which cannot be used by in any dark magic,
Any
like
particular crystal?
black obsidian for that matter. Black obsidian is a crystal because of the color black, and because of how intensely it is formed in the earth's core. It will not absorb any negativity. The moment you start intending something negative, it will reflect back to you. It
Hmm.
will only take positivity. And black obsidian crystal is one of the best crystals to protect yourself from demonic entities and inhuman entities.
Okay. Have you had any cases of black magic that you've come across in your journey?
We have dark magic. Instead of black magic, I'll call it dark magic. That's the word I'm comfortable with.
What is magic?
Magic is, in simple terms, it's intention powered with faith. That's magic. It can be good, it can be bad. What we are doing right now by having this conversation is magic in a way, because we are changing perspective of so many people out there just by talking. It's magic, right? How can you just change someone's perspective just by talking? That's magic. But it's a white magic kind of a thing, it's good magic kind of a thing, because our intentions are good. We are not trying to brainwash someone, we're not trying to force something. Like, I'm not trying to force someone, oh, you have to believe in the paranormal. You don't have to, it's absolutely fine. But people are gaining that knowledge, they're getting that angle. Same way, if that, let's say, when you are touching your mother's feet, let's say, and when a mother is intending, and blessing you, that's good magic, because those blessings are working wonders in your life. Whatever you have achieved is because of the blessings and the hard work that you are doing, for sure. But blessings also do play an important role. So blessings are good magic. But let's say, instead of blessing, someone is saying, you know what, that person should, get into an accident right now. So for us, when we were kids, we used to have fun regarding teachers. Arey yaar, wo teacher, he should get banned from the school. No, maybe he should get into some accident, doesn't come tomorrow. And next day, there's a high chance you might hear something, oh, he met with an accident. Or 1 week later, you'll hear that, oh, he met with an accident. So it's all intention based, everything. Magic is intention. If we are intending the right thing, that's a right magic, that's a white magic. But let's say we are intending bad things, and let's couple it with mantras and other tantric things which are negative, it will, of course, the power will multifold, and a harm can be done on a person or a family or a thing, something like that.
Okay. Uh, some time ago, I had a tennis elbow situation. which started to get solved when they started giving me electromagnetic therapy.
Hmm.
And before giving me that therapy, they said, listen, there's no scientific proof about
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but we've seen that it works. This is in
Yeah.
a physiotherapy clinic.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like my pain went away.
Yes.
Not completely, but reduced a lot.
Hmm.
And then finally, what helped with my pain was Reiki. And even before
Oh.
the Reiki course, they said the same thing, that listen, there's no
Yeah.
scientific proof, but we've seen it works.
This is from the physiotherapy office.
No. The physiotherapy always
Yeah.
gave me electromagnetic
Okay.
radiation, but the Reiki actually
Different.
healed it, like
Hmm.
over time.
Yeah.
I've come to realize that even your human body has electricity,
Yes.
which it does through its
Yes.
nervous system.
Neurons. Yeah.
But if you learn to really channelize it, you can feel that electricity.
Yes.
And for anyone doubting this, try a session of Tai Chi and see what your own body is capable of. You'll
Yeah.
be able to actually feel balls of energy in your hand
Yeah.
if you do a proper Tai Chi session.
Hmm.
Read up about Tai Chi if you don't know what it is. Okay. Now, I feel reality is reality, and it's way more complicated than our minds and our books can explain.
Yes.
And maybe even millions of years later, we won't know the true nature of
Hmm.
reality.
Hmm.
Okay. Science knows about 1% of reality. But people who consider science to be their god believe that that 1% is everything, while completely discounting the 99%
Yeah.
of other stuff that exists.
Yeah.
And I think when you don't know exactly how to categorize the other stuff, we call it maybe magic.
Yeah.
Some sort of magic is
Yeah.
within that realm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this stuff, like whether it's the Reiki, whether it's even blessings that you spoke
Yeah.
about. I feel it's all electricity and electromagnetism based.
Yes.
Last
It's
time
all frequency based.
yeah,
It's ultimately that only. And what you rightly said, we all have neurons, and we all have our body also has EMF. And I don't know if it has happened with anyone else, but a lot of times I've seen a lot of people, they keep shocking in a way that if you touch them suddenly there'll be a spark, or there will be some kind of electricity feeling, because their EMF is so high that right now they're radiating it to the environment, and anyone with a body that can conduct electricity will fill that spark.
yeah,
Also, just to bring back to the thing of science, that for the people who for whom science is god, they only consider, okay, this much is correct and the rest is pseudoscience or whatever. The other day I was watching this podcast, and this particular person is a doctor, and he was in podcast with these two YouTubers who go to haunted locations. And this doctor asks, that do you think their ghosts really do exist? And they go on explaining, yeah, we have experience and all. And they cross question the doctor, do you believe? And the doctor says, I'm what's the word he used, agnostic in this matter. Why? Because I think, the doctor says, I do not have that much knowledge to conclude if ghosts exist or not. So I cannot be totally sure that no, they do not exist or that do exist. And I think that's the best scientific approach anyone can have. Because like you said, we have such a limited knowledge of the entire universe. Now we are getting, the other day I was again listening to this, some scientist who was saying that the Big Bang theory is now being questioned because there are certain universes which were formed after Big Bang but are older than our Milky Way galaxy. They're like, how is it possible? It's totally not possible that a galaxy formed after the Big Bang, because even all these galaxies were formed after the Big Bang. But there are galaxies which are younger but are in a way older in terms of the planetary movements or the other things they have. So these things are coming up right now. But let's say, even I talked about it the last time, let's say someday, even this doctor gave an example, let's say a few years back someone said, oh, we do not have a cure for tuberculosis. We would have never had a solution for that if some scientist was so closed that, oh, there can't be a solution. So we always have to be open about certain things, I think. And it's the nature of learning. If the moment we decide that, oh, we have stopped learning, we know everything about this universe, is the time we will start killing our creative mind, our knowledge, and everything that we have gained
yeah.
over the years.
You need to know that you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. So
Okay.
important.
Kala Jadoo. Black magic.
Yeah.
What is it?
So, like I said about the white magic thing, dark magic is again something, or the black magic is again something where the intentions are bad. People do for selfish reason. People do for their own prosperity in some way. I don't know how it helps them, but we have seen a lot of these cases where people do get into, and in some of the weirdest way, try to harm a person or a thing or something that they want to achieve. But at the end of the day, we have also seen is that person who does this also gets a repercussion that is twice or thrice more danger than what he was trying to attend on that other person. So it is always said, and we have seen in so many people, that the person who is doing dark magic gets affected 10 times more than what the person he was targeting or she was targeting. Because like we have been talking, the universe always knows how to balance itself. If you're intending something bad on other person, the universe will make sure, no, there has to be a balance, so this person should also get something equivalent or more, so that I can maintain my balance of this origin or this universe. Same way for white magic, when you're blessing someone, more blessings come to you. That's why it said, no, that do more good to receive more good. That's how the universe balances itself. So same goes for dark magic. We have seen a lot of these people, and people who come to us, and we have seen them quite personally, that they look, let's a person who is in their 30s will start looking like 50s and all. The skin will start loosening up, and it's like very untimely aging. Their organs might start failing, and their life might get totally messed up. And it's all because of that one thing they did, because they tried to take control of the universe's balance. They went ahead and tried to intend harm on someone which they were not supposed to do. So the universe will give them back in their own ways. So it's a topic that's quite dark. And I think in some ways also the Indian government has its own laws to protect people. There's anti-black magic law,
Really?
anti-superstition law. Yeah, because in the eastern part of the country, Jharkhand, Odisha, few parts of West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, and northern Andhra Pradesh, a lot of people who used to kill other people in the name of witchcraft. So let's say a husband will kill his own wife because he doubted that the wife could be a witch. And what you do, this I have read on the newspaper, in one of the newspapers that I was reading. This is 7 8 years back. I was in my 11th or 12th standard, and I was reading this piece of article where it was mentioned that this guy beheaded his wife, carried the head to the police station, and surrendered himself, saying, I did the village a favor by killing this witch who was married to me. So to protect these females, and rightly so, uh, the government of India has this anti-superstition law and anti-black magic law, which protects, anti-witchcraft law for that matter, which protects these females from getting affected in various ways, from tortures and all, which still happens in many part of the country.
Okay. Have you had any cases where you've dealt with some sort of black magic situation which your team found difficult?
So there is a case that I encountered quite personally. It's a case we received, of course, because I'm talking 2016, end of 2016. We received a call from this village in Odisha, and they wanted to get their village investigated, plus a river bed. That river used to go pass through that village, and their claims was that the road that connected to village, and beside it was the river that was going passing through. On that road they were seeing creatures which were not human. They're like headless beings just crawling on the floor, on the field, and they were on all their fours. They had no head, no tail, so there is no way it's an animal. It was all blackish and gooish kind of a thing. So much fear that they stopped communication between the two villages. No trading is happening. They stopped going out at night, and everything came to a halt. The only time they used to go out was during the day. By the time it's evening, they know we do not have to go, because there were personal experiences of people who were who said and claimed that they were pushed down the road. So to give you an explanation how the road was made up of mud. It's a muddy road, and on this side are the paddy fields, and on this side is the river. But before the river starts is a river bed for which you'll have to go down. So it's like, if you cannot balance your bike or any vehicle, you're going down to the river directly if you cannot control well. And on that side is the wheat field and all kind of vegetations that is going on. So they're quite worried, because there are kids and all who were once playing at that area. Now they can't play and everything. So they called, and unfortunately it was only me who went there. Unfortunate, why? Because my teammates should have experienced what I experienced. And so I went there with a couple of few friends, and who had no knowledge. We just went because it was a village and I needed some help to manage people. And the first thing, like every investigation, is we were interviewing this person, every person who had some experience, and then comes this old lady, and she says, I'll say this in Hindi, beta ye to shaitan ka ghar hai, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I've heard something like this.
As in the devil lives here.
Yeah, it's so intensely haunted, according to her. And the people, according to her, there are also people who have died because of those accidents, thus making it way more dangerous than, apart from the claims that they had.
As in whatever beings were there were also killing people.
Not killing people, but let's say because of their fear, people took some turns and braked in a way, as in they applied brake in a way that they went died in that process. I think they met with an accident, or they skid so bad that they had head injuries and all, and they all died that way. And when this lady said that, I was like, yeah, I have heard this line before, because people generally in fear do use these terms to explain their fear and how scared they are. I'm like, yeah, it's all fine. But we went there, we were like, okay, it's done, the interview is done, a lot of people have a lot of claims and a lot of stories. I said, let's go and investigate this place. And this is like 400, 500 kilometers from Bhubaneswar, so I have to come back home, then attend college the next day. So I was like, no, let's wrap it up as soon as possible. And this is 6:30, 6:30 to 7ish. The sun has just set. And in Odisha, the sun sets quite early as compared to Bombay, and it's like by 5:36 it's quite dark. And I'm like, yeah, it's all fine, we are done with the interview, let's go to the place, and we will start our investigation. Now, while on the way, I realized that Pooja had called me while I was on my way to the investigation, and she just happened to warn me that, Sarbajit, you might face some kind of a witchy entity or something related to witchcraft. Just be warned and be safe, and it's not a very good kind of. But I'm like, no, the place I've so this is a conversation we had before I reached the place. I'm like, no, but the place I'm going to has no history of witchcraft and no claims of witchcraft. So maybe it's something else that is happening in the future. Maybe it's one of your premonitions. She was like, no, I'm quite sure this is this one. I'm like, okay, I'll see. And then I ignored it. And we went there, and it's a huge place, like a football field. And it was around winterish, not winterish, it was summer, I think. And so the water was not over flooded, it was not out of the quantity, it was quite good, so the riverbeds were quite visible. And we went there, it's 7 8ish. And my friends, it's like, I was there, then there were three people, one with a camera, two camera guys, and one sound guy. And of course, we have to record everything, and we were doing all those things. So I said, let's do one thing, let's separate. Two people will go one side, the other two will go the other side, and we can meet up after half an hour, and let's see what you are catching, what you are feeling, and I'll see what I'm getting on my devices. So the first 15 20 minutes, there is no replies, there's nothing, the gadgets are all dormant. And I thought, maybe it's a good sign, this is not haunted, we will counsel the entire village, we'll make them believe or aware that it is not haunted, and maybe there are few stories which are rounding up, but there's nothing else to fear. And we were like all fine. And suddenly starts raining. And I was like, how did it rain? It was not raining, there's no predictions or anything like that. So we rushed down to the car, we waited for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes it was done. And I said that I was quite happy and excited that I'm going to wrap it up quite soon, because there's nothing. This time when I went down again, the feelings had changed, the vibes had changed. I'm like, why does this feel so dense right now? It's an open field. There is no one apart from the four of us, but it feels like there are thousands of people surrounding me, and they're kind of staring at me and looking at me and my crew and everything. I said, why does it feel so tense? I was like, anyway, let's do our job, and we will then get back. So again, we are separated. And this time when I get my device out, it's now starts blinking. The one of the EMF sensors, it starts blinking. And I'm now questioning thing, how is it possible? Because it's a riverbed, it's a village where the electricity is also like a dream, like a regular electricity. So there are no overhead wires, there's no wires underground, there's nothing. And if there is a wire underground, then the moment I would have taken the device near the ground, it would have spiked more. There was nothing. It was only during that area where I was standing. And as I was trying to understand why this is happening, the two other guys who went the opposite direction, one of them starts shouting, Sarbajeet, 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 and it's kind of rushing towards me. My first reaction, there's a crocodile or a snake that he encountered, because a riverbed and there are counts of crocs out there. And I'm also running towards him to understand what happened. And he says, Sarbajit, I saw this entity standing behind you. I'm like, you're bluffing right now. There's no entity, because even in the last podcast, I said my peripherals are quite strong and evident. I can always be aware what is happening. I'm like, I didn't see anything in my peripherals, and you are pointing exactly where I can have a look. He said, no, I'm very sure there was someone, and it was white in color. And it was a lady, old lady, and she was looking right at you very angrily. I'm like, are you sure? I like, yeah, I'm very sure. Do you think I'll fake and all? I'm like, "No, of course not." Now so I said, okay, let's do one thing. You pinpoint exactly where you saw. So as he's coming closer to the point, he says, Sarbojit, you know what is happening? I can't see this place right now. It's very blurry. I can see this area. I can see this area. It's quite clear, crystal clear. But this area was very blurry to me. So I'm like, are you sure you're not in a panic attack right now because you saw something which may not be true at all? And you are going into that fear moment. And he said, no, no, I'm very sure. I said, let's do one thing now. Let's replicate the entire thing. I'll stand exactly as I was standing. You go back to the point where you were. And maybe if the entity is actually looking at me, angry at me, it will maybe manifest again. And maybe this time I'll make sure that I'm looking that side. And nothing manifested. And I was like, see, I was telling you, there's nothing. He's like, no, but I saw. So as we are standing, the camera guys asked, okay, please go take some B rolls and all, because we have to establish the place. And this guy is 40 years old, 30, he's right now 39, I think. And he went to one spot, and we three are sitting, and we are chatting, what to do episodic wise, because we do not have much content. It's just what the running and all happened, but we can't show anything because we're not getting anything, we're not establishing anything. As that is happening, this guy starts running towards me, Sarbajit, Sarbajit. And before it was Sarbajit, Sarbajit, it was Mummy, Mummy, Sarbajit, help. So I keep on saying that when a 35 years old man starts shouting, Mummy, Mummy, there is something wrong. And as he's running towards me, we all three of us, we kind of take 5, 6 steps back, because we are like, what the hell just happened? Why is he running? And we have seen entities can influence your emotional state. If you are not in your highest state of emotional being, they can poke you, they can make you overwhelmed, and you might take some reaction, do some reactions which can be scary for other people. I thought it's something like that, and the fear that has been created by this guy who said that he saw something. He said that someone tapped on his shoulder. I said, no, there are so many trees. No, one of the trees might have hit you. There's no way there is any spirit. He was like, but no, there not a single tree where I was shooting. I said, take me to that spot. He takes me to the spot, and there's not a single tree. I'm like, how can this happen? And as I'm talking and I'm trying to understand what is happening, this one of the sound guys, he said that, Sarbajit, I think I have found something here. And I think it's a cloth that is wrapped, which is looking red because there is blood in it. And inside it, there is something. And my first reaction was, do not touch it. Get a stick or something, but don't touch it directly. And he was like, yeah, but see, what there is. So as I'm going to that spot, I realized at the same spot where, so this guy, where he was pointing me that he got tapped, he was pointing like that. Okay, this is the area. It is the same area where this guy also saw the entity. And for some reason, out of the entire 45 minutes drama that was happening out there, I never investigated that area. I never went there. So now when this guy is calling me, Service, please check what is inside, I take one step. You won't believe, Ranveer. I think after this 2016, so this is like 4 years into my investigation journey, after investigating some of the most haunted locations in India, for the first time I started questioning everything that I have been doing. Like, why am I doing this? Like, all my fears which I overcame as a kid back in 2013, the fear of paranormal darkness and everything, they all overpowered me. I was overwhelmed with negativity. I sat down. And that's when it clicked me. Pooja did warn me that you are going to encounter something that's related to witchcraft. Why? Because when this guy unwraps the cloth, there is a voodoo doll inside it. And there is another marking inside out there, which
The
was
symbol.
a symbol. I'll explain what that is. And I was like, dude, but, and I kind of know options. So the ground was all wet, but I sat down. Seeing that my crew is all he's like, dude, if Sarbajit is behaving like this, what will we do right now? Because we are also experiencing things right now. And I'm sitting there, I'm questioning everything. I'm like, this is the very reason why I started investigation. Why am I being shown that dark side again. Why all those things which I thought I've healed already, why are they coming back now? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, I cannot let this overpower me. I have to do something. I have to do something. I grounded myself sitting right there. I just visualized. I did this short visualization meditation, golden light and white light. I grounded myself. I shielded myself. I got up and I kind of charged inside that area, just shouting, like, what the fuck do you think of yourself? Do you think you can scare me? You can scare my crew? You want to do something? Do it right in front of me. You want to manifest? Manifest right now. I'm here. I'm here in your area right now. You want to do something, right? Do right now. And as I'm doing that, I'm still having goosebumps because that was some moment for me and for the crew as well. And when we were figuring out, we found out that there is a symbol, like I mentioned. And I said, let's do one thing. Let's wrap up. I think it's done. We don't have to complete this case. And they all were like, yeah, yeah, please, let's do that. And I'm like, yeah, let's wrap up because things are going in a very dark way, which I know my crew is not prepared for it. And I need my team members for it. I said, let's wrap up. And as we're wrapping up, Ranveer, you won't believe, we were seeing few things which were quite, I don't know, my engineering mind cannot explain that. We were seeing pebbles falling. Now, of course, the pebbles can be thrown towards us, but if it is thrown towards you, it will have a projectile motion and then it will be parallel to the ground, then it will come down because of gravity. This is happening. It's like it's falling right from the sky. There are pebbles falling everywhere, and we all four of us are seeing that pebbles are falling, and we are like, dude, we have to dodge these, and we have to go get into the car. We dodged them, pebbles falling. This is like how can this happen? This is totally, there's no scientific base. If you ask me as a paranormal investigator, Sarbajeet, how could this happen? I don't know. I don't have any answer. But we went back home. We all took, I didn't take, I only meditated before sleeping. But all the crew, they took salt water bath, and even after taking a salt water bath, they all three of them had the same dream, that they are being chased by that entity which they saw, like one of the crew saw out there. They are like being chased by that entity. And the next day I was researching on that symbol that we found. And we have few associates all over the world, and we sent a few friends who are based in Australia, that if they know any symbol, because I also tried to study symbols, but it was something that I was not able to recognize. And this friend in Australia who is quite good, and he said, dude, even I don't know what this is. Maybe you can ask someone from the Salem area in US, or from the Europe, because they have quite some knowledge on this. So I sent someone from the USA. Even that friend had no idea. Then I sent to it to a friend who is based in UK. He's a physicist, and but researches on the paranormal. He has a vast knowledge of symbols.
Podcast. Sorry, go on, go on.
And we sent him that, and he said, dude, how did you find this? Like, we are investigating some rural areas of Odisha, and we found it. But he was like, but how is it possible a rural area like that has a symbol so powerful? I'm like, but what is that? He said it's a symbol that was used by witches, still used by some of the most powerful witches in the world, to summon the male and female version of a demon. Like, every entity has two versions. We all have our masculine and feminine side, same way for demons as well. So it's a symbol that is used to summon the male and female version of that, masculine and feminine version of that, and to harm someone. Now, that particular village, Ranveer, of course, there's no connection, but somewhere the conspiracy mind, or the curiosity mind that I have, that place has been hit by the super cyclone in 1999 that happened in Odisha. It was so bad, that particular village, that dead bodies were floating from a village 25 kilometers away from this village. And this village's dead bodies were found 30, 40 kilometers away. The dead bodies floating like boats. It was so bad out there, and the place has seen some of the most natural calamities out there. Someone did question me in one of the meetups, do you think it was the voodoo doll or the black magic or the dark magic that was bringing all those natural calamities? If you ask me that same question, I do not have an answer for that. This is one experience that I had.
So that case was left unsolved?
Yes, it's a case that is still very much open, and I really want to go back and close that one.
Why?
Because we, of course, we got back to the villagers, and we asked the village people. We kind of meditation is not their daily thing. They have no idea about meditation. Of course, they have a lot of faith in their gods. So what we did was we kind of helped them with their faith only to get over the fear, so that they do not take any reaction or do anything that will harm them more. So that way the villagers never complained about it. But somewhere in me, that thing challenged me. So it's not an ego thing, but I know I want to see what if it challenges me again, what if it pokes in things, because if there are things still inside me, I need to heal them. I need to cure them. I need to overpower them, because until I do that, if not that entity, there will be some other entity who might find that loophole and might poke again. Of course, after that place, I have been to other places which are way more creepy. I've faced entities which are way more dangerous than that, but no one did a damage or found that loophole like that entity did.
While you're speaking about this, my stomach is hurting.
Yeah, it was a
Why?
bad place. It was a bad place.
Why is my stomach hurting?
It's because I got you so much connected to that place. That's why.
Really?
Yeah.
So if witchcraft was actually responsible, someone in that village was probably doing
Yeah.
little movie plot line. That
Yeah, it
old
is.
auntie who told you, "Beta, yahan
Yes.
shaitan." What if she was
Yes.
only the?
And I underestimated her. I'm like, yeah, I've heard this before. But, so deep down, now that I'm sharing this, deep down, I knew that what she said, it's going to come back to me again. And it actually shook me. It shook me to the core, I think. Post that also, again, I took a break from investigation. I'm like, no, I have to channel myself. I have to kind of increase that damage, as in cure that damage that the entity did to me. But I really want to go back. Very, very honest truth. I want to go back and
Okay.
get it sorted. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this word shaitan, Satan, the devil. People don't even take the name,
Yeah.
honestly. It's kind of like this whole
Yeah.
Voldemort situation.
Yeah.
I'm so sure Harry Potter was written based on real things, but in a stylized way.
Hmm.
Voldemort is the representation of Satan.
Yeah.
Harry Potter is probably,
And there's magic.
yeah, there's magic, there's a
Yeah.
protagonist, there are beings.
Yeah.
I think in the Prisoner of Azkaban
Azkaban.
movie, they showed Dementors for the
Yeah.
first time. It's one of the scariest moments of my childhood. Number one is Shabana Azmi in Makdi. Number two is the Dementors in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
We had Pooja on the show right before you. We spoke about how these entities look. Have you watched Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you remember how the Dementors
Yeah.
look?
Yeah.
Have you seen things that actually look like that?
Yes.
Because when I saw those Dementors on screen, I was like, this is too fucking real.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yeah.
too real to put inside a movie.
Even in the movie as a kid, when I was watching this during this train scene, when the train halts and
Yeah,
they start coming in,
Same.
oh, it was creepy, dude. And the way what they do, this is exactly what negative entities do. They will suck out the energy from you. That's what they exactly do, and they will take that so that they become more powerful and they can do more damage.
Yeah.
You
My
know?
first ever spiritual mentor in life was my ayahuasca shaman, who was a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but he gave me a lot of important
Mhm.
spiritual lessons. He used to keep mentioning how J.K. Rowling really knew some shit about a parallel world and has just encapsulated ideas from that parallel world into a
Mhm.
best-selling
Mhm.
series of books. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of real shit in Harry Potter that people discount because they think it's a children's
Yeah. That's how it has
magic
been
book.
tagged.
Have you thought about this?
I think every fantasy writer, horror writer, sci-fi writer knows something that other people don't know, and they do channel some kind of information that is not from this world. For that matter, Neil D. Silva. Neil D. Silva has written some of the best horror books, and he has written our books as well, Spirits Talk to Me and others. And in those books, he has written few things, and he would share with us, what, Sarba, Pooja, I have written this thing in my new book, and like, but how did you know? Like, you don't research. Like, of course, this is a very, let's say there's a term that's very paranormally relevant, only the paranormal community knows, or they know that certain theory only act upon certain thing that's nowhere found on the internet. He knows somewhere. He's like, how did you know? And like, no, I was just writing and I started writing. And if it can happen with him, I'm sure a lot of other authors too writing, for example, J.K. Rowling, or there's a book. I don't know if you have read the book, this The Laws of the Spirit World by Bhavnagri, and even she though directly says that it was her son who channeled through her to give the people a guidance about the spirit world and how it shouldn't be fear and whatever. But I think all these authors, they do channel some kind of information that is not what we generally consider to be very normal.
What did that Orissa village entity look like? Do you remember?
So I'll say what I saw, but this Odisha village entity, according to my crew, was let's say, let's demon door, but whitish, and has a face like a proper old lady's face, but anger, lot of anger. That's what the guy explains. And it's like I saw it like any other clear human being. But there was another story, if I may, that happened to me quite recently. But before that, do you think you must be having dreams, right? Do you think the dreams you get they have some kind of message for you?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So for me, I don't usually dream. That's how I am. For me, my dreams are I would sleep. So I'm a night owl. Like I'm awake kind of 2 3 a.m. But I don't need much of a sleep. I sleep for 5 hours, and that's enough for me. And but in that entire 5 hours, I'll not dream anything. But there was one dream that was constantly coming to me for the last. Or I'm 26 now, so for the last, let's say, 20 years. Very honestly, initially I thought before I got in this field, or maybe it's something I ignored, but it was quite recently I realized, dude, I can this is the same dream that I'm seeing, and it's a repetitive dream. Same place, same entities, same area, same environment, same everything, same me. It just that with time, I'm seeing myself growing up. That's the only difference. And I can do lucid dreaming. I can control my dreams. I can drive through my dreams. So if I'm dreaming, let's say I've watched a Marvel movie and I come back on home and I'm dreaming of Tony Stark carrying me and flying, I'll know this is bullshit. This is a dream. Please stop this. So this is how I break my dreams, or I don't continue with my dreams. As a reason, also because I meditate so much that, and especially before sleep, that my mind goes into a state of so much calmness that my mind doesn't go haywire, not does my soul goes into that trance world to experience things. But this place, I could never control it. I could never drive through it. I could never stop that dream. It would be like, if it has started, it has to end. That's how the dream used to be. And slowly I recognized, I'm like, dude, this is the place where my mama, basically uncle, used to stay back then when we were kids. Now they have shifted to a different place. Now again, this place is based in some rural part of the country, and rural part of Odisha for that matter. जंगलों के बीच में है. And I realized that this is the same place. This is the area where I used to get scared the most. And this is the same house. So why am I seeing that dream? Now many Pooja was like, oh, maybe it's because you have some inner child trauma, probably because as a kid I was very scared of that place. Because to go on to explain, and from very for you to visualize, if this is the house made up of mud and straws, 2 feet away starts the one of the biggest jungles of Odisha. There are no street lights, there are no ambience lights, there's nothing. If you want to pee, you have to go out in the middle of the forest to do that. It was so bad. And as a kid, I dreaded that place. I loved that place in the day. I had some of the best memories playing with my cousins and all. But just the moment the sun sets, I'm like, dude, where have I landed myself? So I thought maybe it's some inner child fear. But then if you see my journey of overcoming fear and overcoming my traumas, my inner demons, and healing my trauma, I think I have healed almost all my inner child things. So when Pooja pointed out, I said, let's do one thing. Let's heal that part if there is anything. So there was a session, and Pooja does inner child healings, and it's a therapeutic process, of course. And there's a 3 days process, and we did our things. And so she does certain things to figure out if it is still lingering, and there's nothing. So for few days the dreams stopped, but then they started coming back. And so monthly there will be at least one dream of that place. I'm like, no, there is something that the place is trying to say to me. Is there some messages that I'm trying to get? Because for the last 20 years I'm getting. Generally, we should start taking a dream seriously if it is happening for more than 3 times. This is 20 years, and multifold of times I have seen that dream. And I was talking to my mummy, and I'm like, Mummy, do you think I should go and investigate that place? Because uncle doesn't stay there anymore. They are staying somewhere else, but the land is still out there. The house was there, but now it's gone. The nature has taken over, but the land is very much there. So she was like, you know what? maybe you should investigate, because even your sister has felt few things. My sister also kind of a psychic, and the number of times she has been there, she's always come out with a fever. And she's very chilled out like a person, but she's like, I don't know what happens to me, I'll come back and I'll have heavy serious fever. And I'm like, no, maybe I should investigate. There's some message, something that is calling me, and I need to stop these dreams because they are bothersome right now. I like my sleep dreamless. I don't like this dream to happen every month, because every time I would wake up from this dream, I'd be fully drained. So I asked Pooja and Savio, I'm like, let's do one thing. Let's go to Bhubaneswar, then drive down to that place, investigate, close this chapter because I'm done with it. And we reached that place, and the place is as it is, but nature has taken over like that it was unrecognizable, very honestly. But as I was standing there, I had all this nostalgia feeling, because bachpan I have spent wahan pe. But as we are standing there, and as any other process of our investigation, Pooja and Savio says at the same time, you know what, there are demonic entities here. I'm like, what? That's my first reaction, because I'm not expecting. I'm like, there could be, okay, some entities probably, or just my mind playing tricks. And Pooja and Savio both are like, there are entities here which are quite demonic. And I said, but why are there demonic beings here? And what do they want from me? You know what Savio said? He was standing. You know what, Savio, Sarba, what I'm getting is, because, and same thing also Pooja concluded later, like she kind of completed what Savi was saying. It's because the demons are kind of attached to your ancestors, and because you're part of that bloodline, they're also targeting you now. So it, because you are kind of standing in between something that they want, which they could have achieved if you were not there. Because you are there, they are kind of behind you, and they want you to break down and kind of release, or like let them take over and whatever. Pooja said yes. And because it was not possible for you to be in Mumbai and cut the cords and make it happen, your spirits guides kind of forced you to take a trip to Bhubaneswar and come and investigate this place and close whatever is here. I'm like, it's all fine. Let's do one thing. Let's start our investigation, because at the end of the day, I know these are all entities and energies, and I'll deal with them accordingly. So the first thing we do is this Estes method, and Estes experiment basically. So Pooja goes into, headphones are plugged in with that PSB spirit box running, which is radiating the white noise. She's blindfolded. There are tons of mosquitoes, but we are like, abhi kya karna hai? We will investigate. And we are investigating. And initially I started with, I thought, okay, maybe because it is connected to me, maybe I should get into the Estes method, but I didn't get any reply. So I said, Pooja, you only do because you're good at it. So I'm standing there asking questions. Savio is standing there trying to kill the mosquito so that she doesn't get interfered while asking questions. And you know what happened in that thing? Savio is giving readings as he's doing his thing, and I'm asking questions. Savio is giving these readings. Sarba, you know what? I'm seeing this entity, and it's not human. It's demonic, but it's not like the normal demonic entities we encounter. It's some animalistic demon. Like, if I have to represent, it's like those dragons that are drawn in tribal drawings, and it's kind of trying to scare you and everyone of us. As he's saying this, Pooja says, you know what, I'm seeing fire right now. I'm seeing there is some dark animalistic entity that is around us. Pooja cannot hear Savio, but she's also giving out the same thing from the Estes experiment and through what channeling that she's doing. And Savio is also giving the same thing. So both of the readings are matching. At one point, Pooja says Dui. Now in Dui, Odia means do. I said, Dui what? Do what? Is it that, are you two entities? Or we are three people? Why are you saying two? After a few seconds, Pooja says, you know what, Sabha, I can see they're showing me there are two funeral pyres happening. And I'm like, oh, there were two accidental and untimely deaths at this place, which are quite untimely. One was my nani, who passed away suddenly in 2005 in cancer. And then later in 2013 or 15 was my bade uncle, who passed away because of an accident. Both are untimely. Why? Because for Nani, back in 2005, cancer was not a thing. It was way too late by the time we realized she has cancer. And she was by then at the fourth stage already and almost on her deathbed. quite suddenly she just passed away, and both have spent their entire lifetime in that house. So I just ask, are you trying to say you are the reason why all these two untimely death happened? Again, there were no replies, but I had a feeling that the entity was kind of responsible, like it triggered a few things that led to their death as they were, and whatever the family that was staying was not prosperous at all. I've seen that firsthand. So as I'm saying, I have to explain. I'm standing exactly like this. Savio is standing exactly as you are, and Pooja is here facing me. And as I'm saying, I heard this sound like someone is approaching me, like this dried leaves coming towards you. And I turned back, and I like, okay, maybe I just some animals that are just grazing around. And I was trying to explain Savio, okay, maybe we should take this direction for this investigation. 5 minutes after I'm done speaking, because he was waiting for me to complete, he says, Sarbajit, I saw someone standing behind you. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, मैंने कहा, but so when I turned back, I also saw something. But I thought maybe I'm too much in the investigation right now and that it's something my mind is playing. But he explained exactly what I saw. That entity was of my height. Uh, it was not wearing any kind of particular shirt or pant, but it was like rugs kind of a thing, dementor, and it was just looking right into my eyes, and it just vanished the moment I turned my back. And he said, I saw that right now. And as these things are happening, as these things are happening, Pooja is giving out more things, Savio is doing more things, and I'm like, I think we have understood what we are dealing with is some kind of animal demon, something that is attached to this land and attached to me directly some way or the other, and I have to break that bond. And I don't want to fight it out because I know it's not going to harm me in any way or anyone else for that matter, but because the dream that is affecting me right now, I want to do there something here and maybe close this chapter. Savio and Pooja were like, maybe what if you deviates his attention to something else, maybe a metallic object, maybe you hide it or like dafnao it here, and maybe that will dig it and put it inside, and maybe it will start coming because it will come from you. Your energy fragments will be there in that metallic thing. If you do the right process, maybe it will start haunting you and stop haunting your dreams, like that object and not your dreams. I said, yeah, let's do this. So we found a coin from Savio, and I kind of gathered all my energies. I started cutting cords. It's a spiritual process where you kind of visualize that all kind of cords, like cords that are attached to your body, you're just kind of slashing them out. It's a spiritual process. Inner child healings does that a lot more. Spiritual people who take healing sessions, they know about this. So I started doing that and kind of gathered all my energy here. And I'm told to the entity, whatever you want to do to this coin, not to me anymore. I'm done seeing your dream. But as I was doing that, I was kind of gathering myself on a music that is related to Shivji. I just had this intuitive feeling that I should call upon him for his help. And of course, in my whole spiritual journey, I have I've asked for help from a lot of uh, entities, in a way, masters beyond our religious beliefs. And I can be honest. I think right now, this is my third podcast that I have got help from them. And here, I just felt like I should call for him, and I just am sitting and I'm listening to Shiv, Tandav and all kind of music, trying to gather myself. I also had a vision simultaneously, parallelly going on, that this entity is growing big, in front of me. I'm having this vision. It's going big, 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 but then suddenly it just disappears. And then again, because of the scientific approach I have, maybe it's my mind. Maybe I just wanted to overpower it, and that was my way of overpowering it. After we're done with the digging, I explained the same to Savio and Pooja, you know. And you know what? I felt like that. And I asked the two of them, like, what do you feel now? Do you sense the entities now? Pooja says, no, I just saw it. And Pooja has no idea that, I saw something like that. Pooja says, you know what? I saw like it got bigger, 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 and it just blasted off. I said, I saw the same thing in my vision. Savio says, no, even I saw him getting bigger. It was trying to be scary. I said, yes, it was trying to scare us and scare me particularly. He said, yeah, it was trying to be scary and all, but then now I don't sense it anymore. But anyway, we did the digging part, and it's been what we did that in February, I think, the investigation. And from February, this is whenever this is being recorded, there's not been a single dream of that place. I think I've finally closed that chapter.
You released it.
Yeah.
Was it also suffering?
No. It was not suffering. There was some kind of dark magic that was involved, that was sent particularly to harm my lineage.
It's the first time hearing of a non-human form demon.
Even for me also, it was very new, because every time I have come across the topic of demon, I have been very, not ignorant, but very protective. I'm like, what you have seen in the movies is not true. I know that for a fact, but I do not know, and I cannot expect also that what would they be exactly, because I know this is not true, but I don't know what they would look like. So when it came in front of me, and both these psychics who I can totally depend on, rely my life on, are saying that they are both sensing something similar, something animalistic demon, I knew there is something that I'm encountering for the first time. So it was this place.
Okay. Very random question. Do you ever just go to a place and start chanting Hanuman Chalisa? And
Me?
yeah, or any Hanuman related thing?
No, but I know that it will work if we do that. Because in the last time also I said that mantras, they have the power because of the way they're chanted, because of the frequency they hold. They're so powerful, and if we add a bit of faith to it, bit of belief to it, it becomes the most powerful weapon against any negativity. You know. And if I think someone also texted me the other day that why don't you guys go and start chanting Hanuman Chalisa right away. But at the end of the day, Ranveer, we are also trying to help the spirits out there, no? So we have to understand, we know that if we start chanting, some will get released and some might stay back because they have some other karmas in their spirit world or whatever. uh, the negativity will go for sure, but we want to know answers. Why are you stuck here? Why are you haunting this family? Because the client also wants answer, the property owner also seeks answer, the spirit also need answer. Why was this demonic entity controlling me? I did nothing wrong in my life. So we need answers. So that's why first it's an investigation process, there's a communication process, there's a healing process, even for the spirits as well, there's a counseling process. After that is what we do, a prayer. And that prayer for individual, it can be Hanuman Chalisa for one, it can be calling to Jesus for one, can be calling for some the religious entity for one, or it can just be the faith in the universe that, universe, please help these souls to cross over to this other
Okay.
side. you know
Have you met the devil?
I'm waiting to meet, actually. I'm actually looking forward to encounter. Of course, this entity in Odisha, not this one, the previous one, did shook me to the core, but I knew it was tapping on to some unhealed trauma that I had back then. But if you are asking me the kind of devil we see in movies or the negativity we see or hear from people, I'm actually looking forward to encounter, not just like a battle of ego or anything like that, but just from out of curiosity and to understand what are people actually scared from. Because for me, the topic of getting scared is fear, because of my own experience and because of the way I see things. It has come down to a very negligence or irrelevant thing for me. For me, fear of the paranormal is, for me, it's zero. If someone says, Sarbajeet, don't go inside that building, there could be 10 demons, I'm like, let's do this right now.
Yay, let's go!
Yeah. I say this, I become a kid, very honest. Yeah, there are demons, let's go and do that. And then he'll start investigating, and he'll be like, these are demons? They're not demons, they can't do shit.
They're my brothers.
And yeah, that's how we have also helped out so many of these clients, because clients think, oh, my house is possessed by demon, or that there are demonic infestations because there are molds growing and there are water being leaking somewhere else, and because I've watched the movies, they conclude to be demonic. And I'm like, there's nothing demonic. Of course there are spirits haunting, but it's just cashing on the fear that you have for demons. So it's trying to be a demon without being a demon. That's like, people who try to be all, even though they are not, inside they're all soft hearted and fattu, but upar se they will be like, oh, I'm this stud and everything. A lot of spirits become like that with time of experience, because for an entity which has been haunting that family, let's say for 15 years, it has studied every body language, every moment of yours. It knows what you are drinking, what you're not drinking, what you're doing, not doing, and it can start affecting you in that particular edges and soft spots, basically.
There are cultures that believe that when you say things like, I'm welcoming the devil into my life, you're actually doing that.
Yeah, it'll do that. No, because see, like I said, we have been talking about intention. Now, when I said I'm looking forward to meeting, and I didn't say that I'm welcoming the devil, I'm looking forward, meaning if someday I get a case and the devil is actually haunting that place, that will be one of the greatest case for me. But am I sitting at my home and I'm calling, oh, the devil, if you're looking at me, come to me? I don't want that.
When
That's the difference.
yeah, I hear you. When I was in engineering college, Honey Singh had just come up. Okay?
Yeah.
Honey Singh was a thing. And 3 years into his career, there was rumors that spread on the internet that he prays to Satan and he's got his fast success because of Satan. Now, we had the pleasure of having Honey Singh on the show
Yeah.
few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and I asked him this question. And he
Yeah.
had shared some very strange and cool insights
Oh.
about how he visited a satanic church.
Mhm.
But he's a big believer in God. And his conscience kicked in, and he just decided not to be there because he intuitively felt bad about it. Someone took a photo of him there, put it up on Facebook.
Oh.
He's like, the photo was up on Facebook for like 10-15 minutes, and that's where the rumor began that, oh, he's also a Satanist, and he's had a deal with the devil. And they say that if you are an artist and you strike a deal with the devil, you get very fast success
Yeah.
and fame. And even entrepreneurship is
Yeah, yeah.
artistry in some ways, which is why people say Elon Musk is a Satanist, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk then wears all those devil costumes and
yeah.
goes, I don't know now whether he's
Yeah.
also f***ing around or
Yeah.
he's actually saying, hey, I'm
Yeah.
like the child of the
But
devil.
then this has been how do I say, a thing from quite some time now. I think from generations now, people from all kinds of, especially the artists, they do that. I think there is a very famous case from Mississippi where this guitarist who came from a very poor family background, and he really wanted money and success and everything, so he went to a crossroad. Not promoting anything, but this is what he actually did. He went to a crossroad and he dig to not 1 feet, even like some inches or something, and he took a box, and in the box he had written letters that I want to have this much money, fame and everything. He closed it and he dig inside that I put it inside the box and filled up the area. And within 2 days, and he of course chanted something, did some satanic procedure, and within 2 days he got fame. He suddenly became this huge viral sensation in the USA, and he became one of the lead guitarists for some band. Also, he had his own albums and everything. But it is said that he had one of the most gruesome deaths in one could ever imagine. I think his organs started failing and everything suddenly, and it is said that the devil will always come back for its due. Or it will always come back. And
Yeah.
it's for not just, devil is a very big word to use, but it's for like any deal that where you are. So losing your soul is a very it's like a kahavat, where you're losing your soul, matlab you are letting yourself get controlled by someone else.
Your soul get controlled by.
Yeah. So if someone else is controlling your life, of course, initially you'll be getting your fame and the success and everything. But someday this guy will be like, oh, I'm done with you. Fuck you now.
Yeah.
So there'll be repercussions.
That's what they said about the whole Honey Singh thing also. And he sat in front of me. I spoke to him for a while. I can 110% tell how he's a God-fearing man. Talks about Shivji, talks about Bholenath, God, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. There is a sense of God in him. And I asked him that, wait, but does this whole satanic cult thing actually happen? He didn't say anything, but he said, bhai, bahut kuch hota hai. Like a lot of things happen in this world. And even the satanic church he went to, they were making all sorts of promises. And there are satanic churches in the world now. And people say everyone from Elon Musk to Beyonce to Jay-Z, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, all these people who get extremely fast fame and success. I think recently someone added Tom Holland and Zendaya to this. Like, bichare. Like, what if they're just good human beings and God is like, yeah, give them success. Everyone's like, satanic.
I think there are two things to it, Ranveer. One is people who get sudden fame. Of course, we cannot discount the fact that what if they were actually working so hard for so many years that you didn't see. Then there were also people like us. For example, the other day someone said Ed and Lauren Warren are frauds. So Warrens for us, they play a very important role in our approach to people, especially because the empathetic they were to people is why they got that fame, and they investigated say over 10-15,000 cases and everything, and they became what they are right now. They're pioneers of paranormal. And he said, they are frauds. And I'm like, deep in my mind, I was thinking every paranormal investigator in his or her career will always be called a fraud for some reason or the other. Either it is by haters or by people who do not believe. Even after our podcast, of course, There are a lot of love that was shown. Of course, there are a lot of other people who just came in and were like, you think you can do all investigate the paranormal? Do you think you are a kid and all? I got all those messages, and I'm like, dude, say something new. I've been doing this for the last 10 years. I've heard this before as well. So I think for fame, that will always be it's like not even simultaneously the blames of devil worshipping, selling their souls to the devil and being a fraud and walking over other people to research. Of course it happens, I'm not denying that. But what if, because I'm a firm believer that if you're believing so much in negativity, what if there's actually some positivity to it? Maybe this guy actually worked hard. He never sold his soul to anyone. He just worked hard behind the camera. Now he's out in front of the camera and enjoying the fame.
Imagine Saurav Joshi worshipping the devil with Piyush. That's just, he's worked hard. He's a good guy.
Exactly.
That's what his channel is.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not suggesting anything. This is not a Saurav Joshi conspiracy theory. I've met them. Fantastic guys. They're very pure.
Yeah.
That's why God has given them that fame and success. Coming back to Elon Musk.
Just a sec. I'm getting a bad catch on my leg.
See, you invited it. Don't edit this out. ये सब होता है. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Damn.
Yeah. I'm good. Elon Musk, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not f***ing around, guys. I'm messing around. This is the part where I actually get possessed.
So for an exorcist, you're like, were you actually possessed?
No. Okay. Do you think these extra rich and famous people have actually made some deal with the devil? Have you seen this movie called Eyes Wide Shut? It's about the Illuminati.
No, I haven't. Sorry.
So Tom Cruise movie.
And we have Tom Cruise in it. Okay.
Yeah. It's a fantastic movie. It's made by the same director who directed The Shining.
Okay.
Stanley Kubrick. And this was his last film. It's about how many people from the powerful strata of society are actually Satan worshippers, and then they have their own rituals. They have some sexual rituals, etc. They have shown again aspects of witchcraft, like symbols, sexual rituals, etc. That movie, if you watch it, and if you watch Kubrick movies, generally Kubrick movies end in a nice fashion. You can tell that now's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That particular movie ends very randomly. Like, that's it. That's the end of the movie. Okay. And Kubrick apparently died before the movie was releasing or before it got made. So the conspiracy theory is that he was possibly killed because he was speaking too much truth in that movie. And even within that movie, the loop doesn't close. It's just, it's a very well-made film till about 95% of it gets done. Then it just randomly gets over. I still want to keep watching that movie again and again because it's a filmmaking masterpiece. But I do believe that he was trying to say something which powerful people didn't like. So, do you think the Illuminati exists?
I think it does. All these societies, we can name them as we want to, we can term them as we want to, but at the end, I think, how do I say, it's what we started our conversation with, magic. Ultimately is what they're doing. Of course, Satan is not popular in India, so we call it black magic and Jadoo Tona and everything. But because black magic is not so, the term is not so famous in US, is why we call it devil worshipping and satanic. Because if you start comparing, both have quite some similarities in terms of the rituals that are performed, human sacrifices, animal sacrifices. Same thing happens here too. Quite the same. But coming back to your question of Illuminati and everything, see, Ranveer, I was quite young when I was exposed to this field of paranormal. From a quite young age, I started experiencing, seeing things, noticing things, studying human beings and everything. I keep on saying this: when people used to, when kids used to chase girls, I was chasing ghosts. That's how my life has been, still has like that. Very honestly.
You're a bhoot. Sorry. I really tried holding that back. Yeah. Sorry. Very dirty.
So yeah, that's how it has been like that. And so when it comes to something like this, I'm quite open to the subject of Illuminati actually controlling this big shots and the what do we call that, the global elites. Very honestly, I'm quite open to that, but I also kind of open to the fact that what if, like I said, what if they have actually worked hard. And I'm talking particularly about, let's say, few of the personalities you named, let's say like Tom Holland or Elon Musk, for example, or anyone for that matter. Now, I don't know because I've never met them. I've yet to ask Pooja or Savio for a psychic reading about them. But but as of I see, I think, Ranveer, we cannot, like I said, we cannot discount the result of a proper hard work. We cannot discount that. We know miracles can happen if you are actually putting your mind and soul into the right thing. Of course, there's a shortcut to it, but every damn thing in the world, mid exams or studies or life or relationship or success, if you're taking a shortcut, there will be bad outcomes of it. People have seen that. And let's say the number of personalities that were named here or more are actually doing that. I think it will be soon we'll be seeing their true faces. And if not, I think it's pretty much concluded that they're actually quite hardworking. So that's what I believe in. I think the same story goes for a lot of people here in the industry as well, here in Bollywood, or the businessmen that are kind of here in India, for that matter. A lot of these are also blamed to be have sold their souls to the devil, or they do all kind of ritualistic and all. I do not know, I've never met them. But let's say if they do, I believe in karma. I believe that no matter how much things you're trying to spread, the truth always comes out, and someday people will see the truth. And if not, it goes as it is for the rest 100 200 years, and the legacy continues like that. That means they were quite hardworking and they reached where they deserve to reach. So that's what my beliefs are.
One final question for you on today's episode. Because we've been talking about this topic in some way or the other, I think we spoke about it a little bit last time. Symbols.
Yeah.
Say the Illuminati does exist. They would carry symbols of their faith with them.
See, symbols basically, if we also, symbols are basically things where you can put your faith on. It's something to visualize while you are carrying out their job. It can be for religious things also. Of course, certain symbols are way more powerful because of the way they have been designed, the way they have been inscribed, the way they have been channeled and drawn. But let's say the Illuminati is real and they're actually controlling the global elite. I think they would be the most secure and hidden in plain sight kind of people who would not expose their plans to the world. Let's say Elon Musk was wearing this devilish thing. If he was there, do you really think he'll let people know the reality? Because right now today's audience is way more woke as compared to what they were 5 6 years back. Now people know these terms: Illuminati, devil worshipping, selling your soul, or satanic rituals, and all kinds of things that are coming right now. It was quite totally not a topic to discuss many years back, 5 10 years back. So now if there is actually one, I think they'd be doing quite few things behind the camera and behind the scenes and not come out in front of the world.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
how I think in the automobile revolution, there were three families. It was Ford, Rockefeller, and I can't remember the third one. Maybe it was Rothschild, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
So there are these families that have generational wealth who
Yeah.
are very away from the public eye.
Mm.
And lots of people assume that it's probably them.
Yeah.
The one layer deep explanation, and this again I heard from someone else, this is totally conspiracy theory zone, is that, we often are very proud of Indian culture and we think it's like extremely old, which it is.
Yeah.
But we're proud of it because it's the one classical culture that survived.
Mm.
There were other cultures which are
Yeah.
as old, which have just not survived.
Mm.
For example, ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
So they believe that there were some Egyptian priests who are also as advanced as our Indian rishis, who had figured a way to reincarnate into the same family.
Okay.
And eventually, power and greed got to their minds. So they're never going to get moksha, even though they evolved, but they will have the most luxurious life. And they said that they kept reincarnating, went to Europe eventually at some point, and became elite in Europe, and then finally moved to USA when the power of the geopolitical world shifted to USA, and now they're sitting there. And even if you actually study geopolitics, there's this whole thing about how power shifted from Britain to USA, how USA became the leader of the free world.
The world power, yeah.
And every move that the Illuminati makes is for the sake of their own agendas, yeah. Forwarding their own money, forwarding their own bank accounts. That's, again, this is full conspiracy theory zone.
Of course. That's what. So that's what I said, many things I don't want to name right now were called conspiracy theories couple of years back, but now things are surfacing up. The media is talking about it. The people are talking about it.
Man-made viruses?
I don't know. There are other things also that are being discussed quite openly now. I'm not saying what is being discussed is true, but people are questioning things, and that's what excites me. You have to question everything. Every damn thing should be questioned. It can be something from the medicine, from spirituality, from paranormal, or from science. Till we don't question, our soul will always be that under the dominated side and not the curiosity side that should always be there. You should
Yeah.
always be curious and not like, okay, if you say, oh, that face mask is inverted, maybe that's a devil. No, maybe it's looking like a joker to me, or it's looking like that tentacle guy in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Johnny, whatever his name was,
Yeah, I know what
Davy
it.
Jones, you know. So it's
Davy
completely up to
Jones.
me, but I can question things before I strongly believe what someone is saying, and that's how it should be for everything. A conspiracy can be a truth 10 years later. We cannot be the controller of that, but what we can do is just be maybe open to think that things might change and may not be the way we want them to. That's the harsh truth, actually.
Oh, Sarva bhai, that's it.
Yeah.
Another epic episode with you. I
Yes.
still feel there's so many topics left to talk to you about, dude. Like,
Of course.
you felt today was darker than the last.
It was darker. I think it was more personal to me than it was last time. Last time, I think, of course, there were a few members, Pooja and Savio, who were with me during that experience. But these two were quite personal to me, is why I think it got a bit darker, especially with the witch part, and it just reignited the thought that I have to go and investigate
Yeah.
that.
I love you. I only have respect for you.
Thank you so much. Love you
You're
too,
a
bro.
great dude. I don't know how often you get to hear that you're probably doing a lot of positives for the spirit world. Okay. And this is the cushion I'm building for what I'm going to say
Yeah.
next, which is that I'm going for my saltwater bath now.
You
After I
should.
felt that pain in my
Everyone
stomach. Taking nothing away from my love and respect
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
But dude, these Bhutia podcasts become a lot for me.
I know.
And if I don't have that saltwater bath, I just don't feel right.
Yeah, no,
Nothing.
you should. You should actually.
Yeah.
We all do. We all do. But yeah, saltwater bath, the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Any signing of notes for this particular episode?
No, again, thanks to you, Ranveer. Again, this was quite some improv podcast for me, actually. But I loved it, and I love the way you gave people like me and Pooja and people like us a platform to talk about this world, bring out topics which are not generally discussed, talked, and should be considered some way or the other, and thus giving people a chance to question things. I've always been this advocate of questioning things and not believing everything you see on the internet being such an important part of our life. We just suddenly, oh, that man just jumped into the river, he died, and then you 10 days later you hear, I no, he was just taking a swim in the river, he was not committing any kind of crime or taking his own life. So I am a firm believer of that you should question everything, and thanks to you that I'm able to give people that angle to question everything. I've got a lot of messages. We have got a lot of messages after the previous podcast that people are now out of their fear of paranormal, and that's what we have always trying to do for the last what 10 years now. And finally, with you, it has manifested, and that's a thing we'll always be grateful to you, very honestly, and to your team for making this happen. And yeah, that's it. Just keep questioning and keep meditating. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Jai Mata Di, brother.
Jai Mata Di.
Chalo. So that was the episode for today. Told you it would be dark. Left me feeling very heavy. Had to have a salt water bath after this one. Genuinely, I'm sure you feel the same. As with any of our horror episodes, the intention is never to scare you or to add darkness into your life. It's to simply make you aware of these topics so that your soul can take itself towards the light. Sarbajeet Mohanty is going to be back on TRS, and we're going to have many more horror episodes that we will create for you and release for you very, very soon. Keep following.